Hello, everyone. Welcome to the VooPlayer Q&A weekly webinar call. We're going to get started here in just a minute, but before we do, we just want to confirm that both audio and video are good. So if you're able to hear my voice as well as see my screen, which should say VooPlayer Q&A on it, just confirm so in the chat box. That's going to give us an additional minute for late people to join. Thank you. All right, it seems like we're getting a couple of confirmations from TB and Steve. Hello, guys and girls. Yeah, I just went silent because I just wanted to confirm that everybody can hear me before continuing. So that's great. It sounds that we're good. If we experience any troubles along the way or technical difficulties, just shout out in the chat. All right, so welcome again, everybody. Just a brief introduction. My name is Peter. I am the product manager of VooPlayer, and we're holding these weekly Q&A calls in order to answer any questions which you as users may have, also to provide training on any advanced features or stuff that you see in VooPlayer but are not sure how to utilize it. Also to showcase new stuff that we've been working on, and ultimately to gather feedback on anything that can help us improve VooPlayer and help us yield more value out of it. All right, so with that in mind, the format of the webinar is pretty simple. Hopefully you came prepared with some questions. So at any time that you'd like, you can paste those in the chat box and we'll just start answering them in the order that they come in. Worth noting is the webinar replays are available after the call. You're going to receive a replay link via email if you're registered, but they are also available on our YouTube channel as well as on our Facebook group. And also, if you're not able to make the webinar, just feel free to, on any of those channels, just comment or just send us a ticket at support@VooPlayer.com, and we'll be sure to answer it in the following webinar. All right, excellent. So for this week, I don't have any major announcements as I did last week. So last week, just as an overview, we've introduced the newly redesigned overlays and annotations system in VooPlayer. Just making sure, let me just check something. I think on a dev environment, yeah. You'll excuse me and give me just a quick second just so I can switch over to the production environment really quickly. Sorry about that. Production. Alrighty. We've introduced the overlays, reimagined overlays templating system, which introduced 14 new templates, which make it easier for you to create custom looking overlays and annotations and add them to your video. And thus far, so here are those overlays. Thus far, we received pretty good feedback with regards to how people are utilizing them. Also, the analytics which we're monitoring on how people are using them are pretty good thus far. A lot of people seem to be interested in the image link template and are utilizing it the most. So that's interesting. As I mentioned last week, we're really looking forward to gathering feedback on this in order to help us both optimize the controls for manipulating the templates better, as well as to identify any new templates which you feel are missing, so that we may add them in future releases. As previously discussed, we've identified a lot of new potential enhancements to this, which are scheduled for future releases, such as the analytics for the overlays, mobile optimized overlays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's something that we've discussed last week. But if you weren't on that call, just a brief reminder. Course, also you should have received an email announcement with regards to a full details on this. Dave is saying, we talked previously about wrapping intros and outros around a series of videos. Currently, this is available at upload. You mentioned that this will become possible for already uploaded videos. Is there a time frame? I'm getting close to needing this feature. Yeah, we've announced that some while ago. So let me just pull up well, actually I'm in the application, so I might as well do it from here. So if I remember correctly, Dave, and you can correct me on this. No, I don't want to save changes. So I believe, give me a second, this was applying player settings to already created videos. So enabling this will allow users to replace player settings on existing videos. By doing so, they will be able to quickly edit already created videos by applying settings and features from a template of their choosing. This feature already exists as apply settings from another video during the creation process, but not after creation. I posted on March 21st. I think that was, I'm not sure that's when we released it. Let me check. So this was sometime in April we released this feature. So that became available within the application about a month ago or so, I believe. And the way that it works is, so if you remember the entire discussion around setting up a template, so just for people on the call, if I remember correctly, the original discussion was, Dave's use case was that he had a lot of videos which he wanted to wrap with a pre-roll and a post-roll video, but applied that across a lot of different sponsors, which would be showing their ads on pre and post roll videos. But he's already created a lot of videos, and he doesn't want to re-upload all of them, but rather just apply settings which contain those pre and post roll videos from a template, which would be, for example, sponsor A or sponsor B videos with pre-rolls and post rolls set up for that sponsor. So this feature enables you to, for example, let's say that I wanted to grab a couple of these test videos, and up on the top you can see that since the selection is now active, I have the ability to group those videos, which was already there, but newly added tab is, apply player settings. So for these 4 selected videos, I can find, I don't have any templates, but maybe, I don't know, I don't want to mess all of these up, so I'll just demonstrate it. So for example, I can just select one of the videos which I want to use as a template, and then just apply settings from that video to the 4 videos which I had selected. So hopefully that resolves that, and you're able to utilize that. Do test it out and provide any feedback which you might have on how that's working. I think when we tested it about a month ago, it was pretty smooth. William is saying, hey Peter, will the HTTPS links be auto-updated for videos or playlists previously embedded in sites, or will we have to republish? What's changed, William? I'm trying to figure out what needs to be updated. Since you're stipulating HTTPS, I'm assuming that for some reason you had not secured URLs, HTTP only. Do you maybe have a custom site that you've set up, or a custom domain that you're using? I'm just trying to figure out what update is required. What are you expecting the update to happen? Nothing. Just to clarify, nothing's gonna update automatically on the embed codes. The embed codes which you have grabbed from VooPlayer and utilized on your sites or in your applications, we can't update those. Those are at your discretion to update and manage. But if for some reason the embed code which you didn't, the embed code which you generated from VooPlayer was not HTTPS, or I'm not necessarily sure what went wrong there, but if the code itself did not work as expected for some reason, still to find out for what reason, then that will need to be updated. We can update those codes automatically on your site. But do let me know if you can just elaborate a little bit on what was the issue there, so that we can dive a little bit deeper into it. When you guys roll out the HTTPS feature, what's the HTTPS feature? All of the links from within VooPlayer are working through HTTPS covered by SSL certificates. So I'm just not sure what's missing HTTPS. Is there a particular code or anything that you can point me at? How did you end up with HTTP URL? That's what I'm more curious about, because everything should be by default covered via HTTPS, with one exception being if you had a custom domain which you imported via a custom domain which you set up as your domain for your VooPlayer videos, but have not set up the SSL for it. So that's kind of the only scenario which makes sense, but yeah, I'm not sure if that's the case. So I don't know if you're using a custom domain or not. That would help clarify. All right, until William clarifies that, also wanted to touch base on some progress on some stuff that we're working on. We've talked a lot about performance enhancements and page load speeds for VooPlayer. So as I mentioned, we have finalized that, and actually currently it is available over here for me in the application, but it's currently reading as admin/CSR only. So performance optimization. So that's all ready, and we'll be rolling it out. Look for an announcement, I would say this week. We're going to push this out, so it's not just for admins, but also for all users that they can test it out. Basically, how this is going to work is whenever you're generating an embed code, and if you're not satisfied with the performance that the current embed code is giving you, you're going to be able to turn on these beta optimizations for performance, giving you a new embed code, which is going to leverage some of those performance enhancement techniques and technologies which we've discussed throughout the last few webinars. So we are really pleased with how this is turning out, and especially some of the data which we've gathered both through customer feedback as well as surveys pointed to the primary performance metric that users are most concerned about is the impact of embedding VooPlayer on their pages, the primary metric being the page load time impact, and that's just optimized so much that I think people are going to be really pleased with how that's turning out. So keep an eye out on that, and that should be rolling out sometime this week. We're going to probably make an announcement, and hopefully even before the release next week, I think this is going to become available in the application for everybody to start testing out. We're gonna keep those optimizations as optional. so anybody can turn them on or off on embed codes, and you can see how it's performing. So if you're not satisfied, you can just revert back to how it was previously. But hopefully, we're gonna be able to gather a lot of feedback on how people are satisfied and how that's impacting performance of their sites and pages. And that way, we're gonna probably find some bugs that we haven't thought of, but hopefully not too many. And then at some point in the next month or so, we're going to be ready to sort of start applying that by default. What else did I want to mention? We also discussed mobile optimizations. So June is mobile month here in VooPlayer land. We've basically constructed a huge effort initiative dealing with everything mobile. So from how the video plays and is embedded on all mobile devices, to what happens when it goes in full screen, to how it rotates, to how particular player controls are adapting to mobile screens, what needs to happen to individual controls, sort of taking the mobile context and the mobile user experience to the next level. Thus far, everything has sort of been cramped, and with an understanding that not everything is working as smoothly as it could be, and an appreciation for how important it is for it to work. We're dedicating the entire month of June basically to optimizing everything for mobile playbacks, including all of the popular devices, Android phones, iPods, iPads, etc., etc. So we would appreciate your patience and understanding as we kind of want to tackle this in a one major swoop to try and get everything sorted out on mobiles to get the best performance possible and the best display and appearance as we could. Louis is saying new overlays are very good. Any idea on the timeline for these to be rolled out on funnels as well? Ooh, that is a very interesting question, Louis. For overlays to be rolled out on funnels. So how would they behave on funnels? Would they behave as questions? Would you be able to ask questions within these overlays somehow? Because any overlays which you created on the videos which you're utilizing within funnels are going to remain active. So all of the overlay functionality, such as click here for something, or opt in, or here's a coupon, etc., etc., all of those are going to be available on funnels if you're utilizing the overlays themselves. I just mean the same sort of graphics. Yeah. All right. So it's just the layout. That's the question. The layout for the questions. So yeah, that makes sense. We're definitely going to be able to reutilize a lot of this when we get to optimizing sort of the front end of funnels. The bigger issue with funnels that we're currently facing is sort of the functionality and reworking everything to kind of match the expectations, because one of the things that we kind of really missed on when we created funnels is the ability to associate more than one answer to a sub question. So what we found out that people really wanted to do is just have maybe 5 different answers for question 1, but all of them are going to link to question 2. So that's what's coming up first for the timeline on reworking the funnels. We also have some smaller enhancements with regards to just the experience of creating funnels and kind of improving the understanding of what's happening. So that's something that we're going to work on first, and after that we're going to dedicate ourselves to the graphics and the appearance of the questions. Thus far, they seem to be performing if not optimally, sufficiently. So that the first thing that we want to improve is, because what we have is people just creating nested questions to a level of 20 just to be able to ask the same question. So that's the first thing that we kind of want to rework. William has said, haven't yet tried, but are custom domains secured in VP or need to be done through a third-party hosting? Since recently, custom domains are so the process itself. For example, if I had a domain which was, for example, williamsite.com, and I wanted to add that as my custom domain, the HTTPS or SSL generation is handled on our end since recently. But for you to be able to do this, you of course first need to point williamsite.com to app.vulplayer.com, and I believe the article on the doc site is going through some details on explaining that step by step. So the first option you have is just to handle the DNS on your hosting provider or on your DNS management system, just to point the domain or subdomain over to app.vulplayer.com, and that's gonna auto-generate an SSL certificate for that domain. Or alternatively, you are able also to go through someone like Cloudflare, who, if you are willing to do that, and then they can handle the SSL for you. Important thing just to note is, before adding a custom domain, which you want to handle all of your videos, masking that pointing that to app.vulplayer.com, it would be the first step. Phoebe is saying, did you manage to fix the chapter markers? The last time I checked, marker names were not showing when you put a cursor on any marker. It showed only time. I believe somebody worked on that this week. I think I saw a task that somebody committed some code with regards to markers. So let me just check that. So we're on the current version. We're on 0.49. So let me just check on the markers. They are in interactions, chapter markers. So here I'll add some Taya at second 5 and add a new marker. I think that should be fine, right? If I'm not mistaken. And I don't see the name appearing. So it looks like that hasn't been fixed yet. The title of that marker is not showing up. Or let me also check on that in the actual player. Actually, let me just save that first, just to check. It might not just be working in the preview mode, but it might be working on the actual player. I'm not sure where I saw that commit. We had 2 bugs with chapter markers. One which is it is working in publish, so that's good. So it's working in the published videos and just not in preview. I think whoever updated that just updated it in preview, but not in the in the actual video player, but not in the preview. So we'll get that sorted out as well, but for now, just ignore that they're not showing up in the preview. You can just go over here after you save the video, like I have, and you can just click on watch and then see those updates appearing. All right, great, cool. While on the topic of markers, we did have a very, very elaborative discussion a few webinars ago with regards to sort of enhancing the ability of markers not to be a simple just a title with an ability to also add the additional content, paragraphs, images, links, etc., to additional chapter markers. So something, and we've gathered some feedback on that in the idea board. Let me see if I have that available somewhere. Chapter markers. Yeah, so we've gathered a lot of good feedback on how this can be utilized. So something that I've been thinking about is something along the lines of, I don't know if any of you people are using Netflix. So the Netflix kind of has this option for the ability to switch episodes. So we're thinking about kind of stealing that idea and having the markers or chapters be as something that people can explore additional content in. So if I had a marker set here, clicking on it or interacting with it in some way would open up some sort of a panel similar to what we see here on the Netflix screenshot, and that would kind of outline all of the different chapters in the video, and people can see them from a window and then select which one they want to jump to and see additional details on it. Just a brief update on sort of the thinking behind the future enhancements to those markers. William is saying, can you guys also add a Q&A overlay set to queue? Example, add 7-second show template question and 40 seconds shows answer. Not with you, William, today. Sorry. We don't seem to be on the same frequencies. So can you also add a Q&A overlay set to queue? So at 7-second, show a template, which is the question, and at 40 seconds, show the answer. We can show that we can of course set up a template, which would be sort of, hey, here's a question for you, but I'm not necessarily sure how you're going to get the answer out of that. Is the answer somehow dynamically populated on? Oh, all right. I see what you're saying. Maybe. I think I'm starting to understand now. So, for example, the video, someone asks and someone answers. So I have a silly example of this, but solve this riddle. Let me find one. So, for example, these are some of the videos I like watching on logic puzzles. So, for example, and the question would be, let me just find the question. Sorry, I can't find where the question is. Give me just a second. I want to try and find where the question is. So if I'm not able to, I'm just going to skip it. I can't find it, but for example, somebody asks a question and they're like, here's the question, and then the video continues playing, and then just the answer to that question shows up in the template. I see potential for that. That's a good idea. So if you can, please add it to the ideas board as a new product, as a new overlay template idea. I think that's definitely going to be a lot of help to us, just elaborating that use case a little bit. But I think I'm starting to understand sort of the intent behind that. I've seen that in videos before. All right. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Did I skip over anything? I don't think I did. All righty. Good. So we can start wrapping this up unless there are any additional questions. Don't forget to continue contributing to the ideas board on any new enhancements, be that for markers or be that for new templates, new ideas for overlay templates. We're really making that ideas board a primary driver in everything that we're able to prioritize on our roadmap. So I just want to thank everybody for. Can we delay the trash bin? Can we delay the trash bin? I'm assuming Phoebe is referring to deleting videos by accident. We've had a couple of people do that. So some people clicking here, for example, and then just clicking on delete and then losing all of their videos, and like sometimes delete by mistake. Yeah, that's definitely something that we want to provide, because currently there's no confirmation of any kind when you're deleting videos, and that can be very costly. So that's definitely something that we want to throughout the entire application ensure that you're not able to just delete something by clicking on it by mistake. So sometimes those confirmations can be slightly annoying, but sometimes they're really necessary. So I'm with you 100% on that. That's something that we definitely need to add. We've had a few people really lose a lot of work thanks to lack of consideration of that. So definitely something that we need to rectify. All right. Once again, I just want to thank everybody for joining this week and for continuing to provide good feedback. So hopefully we'll see you next week, and keep an eye out on for that announcement with regards to the performance optimization. I think that's going to yield in some very positive feedback. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.